Welcome to the Wealth Venture podcast, and in the studio we have a special guest, Sonya and Steve. Welcome again.
Hi.
Cheers, Don.
Right, Sonya, what's your Steve? Like, you guys have been in property now with each other for quite some time. When did you meet, Sonya?
We met 10 years ago, Steve, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
2010 we met.
Wow.
In a little cafe in Beachlands.
You must be doing something right. You come back here after 10 years.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah. There was nothing there then, really. It was all, apart from Pine Harbour, it was all grass all the way to the road. Yeah.
Yep, cows.
Yep. So what made you firstly get into property, Sonya?
I was working for a company and I had an accident and screwed my shoulder up and I couldn't work, basically lost my job because of it. So my husband brought me home a book on property investing and I sat up one night and read it till about 2 a.m. And just sometimes there's a something that gets you, and this book got me. And I woke him up at 2 a.m. and told him we're doing this right now. It really wasn't
Why am I not surprised?
So what happened after that when you read the book?
I just got it. It just completely...
Really?
Yep, got it. So I phoned Steve the next morning.
Yeah.
Because his number was in the back of the book. And arranged a meet-up.
Okay.
So
And-
Dave tagged along and the kind of history from there.
And then obviously at that time, do you have any experience in properties, or you were?
Yes. Yep, so we'd owned 2 rentals before then. We did it all wrong. We didn't know what we were buying. We bought brilliant properties. We should have just held them, but we had problems because I was trying to manage them and I was too soft on tenants and really got walked over. We had a tinny house was one of them.
Okay.
Got completely trashed.
Yeah.
The other one was they're both such good yields. I think they're around about a 13% yield just
Wow.
through sheer dumb luck.
Yeah.
So we sold them and then did nothing for a while until I read this book, and I just was like one of those moments when you think, idiot.
Was that bit working? When you read a book, the numbers in the book, how much money you can make through properties?
Yeah, absolutely. It was nuts. So we joined up with Steve and learnt how to do it properly.
Okay.
And it's been great.
And what
ever
was the
since.
difference that Steve done, see?
Right, so it's your basics. It's just getting your team, really. It's knowing who to ring and who to have someone stand there and say, okay, yeah, you're doing this right, or no, you're doing that wrong. This is how you do it properly. And pretty much holding your hand. So
Okay.
he set us up with a great team. We learnt the numbers properly, learnt what a good yield was, that we had such a good yield, and learnt that you don't actually really want to do it yourself. So you want to get someone in there who can manage this properly, and that's their job.
And what was that process involved, like, Steve, like from meeting Sonya, consult her, what happens afterwards?
Well, Dave and Sonia do have quite a bit of experience in property in different ways, but it's a case sometimes of taking people through the fundamentals, and you'll figure out whether or not they're across that stuff pretty quickly or not. Meaning, if you and I talk about gross yields and net yields or whatever, we're on the same page pretty quickly. Some people aren't. I'm not saying that these guys weren't, but just took them through a journey. I have a recollection that when they were trying to buy the first deal under my tutelage, that I actually made them go and sit outside the house in the car because we were concerned the agent was going to go and shop the deal.
Right.
So they didn't stalk him, but they sat outside and waited for him to walk back out of the house with the contract, sort of stuff, And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've had you on the phone before when you've been negotiating, and you've been able to stop in the middle of the negotiation and kick stuff around,
Yeah.
So say, what about this clause, then like that, or what about this, or whatever.
So you were like available, Steve were available to you on call when you needed him?
He was there, and he always answered, which was really surprising.
So he was like the guardian or the bodyguard of
He held our
what you
hand.
do.
He showed us what to do, and when we weren't sure of a process, he corrected us and made sure we did it properly. So there were no mistakes along the way, costly mistakes that we could have sort of stumbled into.
How many property would you transact in the past 10 years?
We did. I've done quite a few trades.
Okay.
I don't know. 20, 30.
Okay.
No more.
Well, it would be more than that.
Oh, it would be too. Maybe 40.
And now how you feel now become after 10 years of experience, how do you feel now?
Oh, you know what? It's amazing how it it changes your mindset. Once
Yeah.
you get into something like this, other opportunities come along as well. So
Okay.
it's not just property. This opens you up to everything else that's out there.
Yeah.
And so it's changed us hugely, not just now that we have houses and we have income when we're older. We've got other investments sitting
Right.
out there as well that we can pull on.
So would you say that sort of like, if you were still say you're still working 10 years ago,
Yep.
and you didn't know about Steve or property trading or fast track into a better solution, if you still held your job 10 years ago and you didn't do what you do,
Yeah.
what would your position be today?
Oh, we would have been in the same position we would have been back then.
Right.
And we were getting to the point where we were thinking, okay, 20, 30 years' time, we're going to have absolutely nothing apart
Wow.
from the house that we're living in. And we'd still be there. It just needed something that went click and someone to kick us in the bum and
Okay.
say, let's go, let's get it done right.
So Steve, now obviously you've got the recipe now that
Yep.
that you can coach your friend, family, children's, because they will learn the same habit now, aren't they? They know that it's possible that through property investments you can actually train your job because you can do it.
Yeah. And that's right, because our son, he's 23, and so he's watched us over the last 10 years, and he's now in a position where he's just qualified as a builder, and he's dead keen to get his first property and do some reno and build a minor dwelling on the back of
Okay.
it. And it's quite exciting watching that be passed down
Yeah. What
at
were some of
an
the
early age.
what were some of the best deals that you two
The
have
ones
gone
I
through?
sold, mate, every single one that I sold was the best deal. And I regret selling them all.
Well, you can't that, but you know.
I know. Probably the early ones, because they were such good deals. There was one that I bought without even going into.
Right.
It was 194,000.
Oh my
It
God,
cost
where
me.
is
It was
that?
a three bedroom in Green Meadows. It was nuts. And
That's pretty cheap.
I
You
did
don't
a
even buy land
14
for that money now.
I did a 14k reno on it, and it was just a killer. It was a 10.8 yield, I think, straight away.
Well, that probably today will probably be 750,000. So you're absolutely right. If you keep everything you've got,
Keep it.
you want to double and triple your wealth.
Exactly.
But then again, property trading is about providing cash flow to pay for school fees,
Well, it
holidays, and
it gets you to the next deal as well.
Yes.
yeah.
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 So we've done pretty well.
But one of the other things too is when you get into a network that your own skills are quite valuable to other people, and you can work with other people who might be short on time or short on expertise or whatever. Because of Dave's skill as an architectural draftsman, for example, there's some real angle there for when we're doing add value on other properties. And, you know, essentially you get to start to lean in on each other's skill sets a little bit. And I've done that myself with Dave and Sonya on a number of occasions since. Yeah.
And having Steve, Sonia, would you say this guy, he's like what, he double checks, triple checks everything? He makes sure everything's right before you even make a decision?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's quite annoying, you know, because I work with him, but
I know.
he just double checks, triple checks everything. But
Yeah.
isn't that wonderful to have someone that sort of like checks on you, you know?
Really good to have someone make sure you're doing it right.
Yes.
And just make sure you're not going to fall into the hole and lose everything, because it's quite scary when you're starting out. I could lose my house. But if there's someone sitting there going, well, actually, no, you have got it right, because look at this and this and this, and add that up, you know, it's going to work. So it's really nice having that backup.
I will say, though, that part of the learning is actually being able to walk off the cliff yourself. So you put the analysis together and say, well, for all of these reasons, this makes a lot of sense. This is the potential downside. And then you kind of have to wait and let them go and step off.
Right.
You know, sometimes, because if you don't do that take that confident step in your own mind, then that actually is saying you're still doubting the logic.
Okay.
And you have to do both.
And your husband, Dave, he's an architect, right?
Architectural draftsman, yeah.
Okay. And so how important is it for a partner to have the same vision? Because if you don't have the same vision, you can't do it, can you?
You have to be on the same page.
Right.
And it was really good when we first started, because we both went in it together.
Okay.
And we both would get on the phone to Steve and nut out questions. He'd have different questions than I would.
Right.
And Steve was very patient.
So today, after 10 years, well, this wealth ninja, you become one of the ninjas now, aren't you?
Yeah. Sounds quite good, doesn't it?
So
Absolutely.
if there was a property that come up today, and it's the right number, everything fits you the right, would you hesitate to buy it, or you wouldn't even hesitate if everything is right?
Probably wouldn't even hesitate because we know the process now. We know how to work it out.
Right.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, you've been thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Or you might not even do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be pretty scary. I probably wouldn't have done it. Well, we did it twice and did it wrong, so I definitely wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has it having that skill for you and Dave now, has it changed your life, your future?
Totally. Completely and utterly changed it. Like I said, we've got other investments going now that aren't property. It opens your mind and
Right.
you accept other investments and other ways of living a lot more easily.
You know, I asked you a question, you said totally, just like, bam,
Yeah.
get to the point. I wish there's so many women out there like you that can give the same answers, because obviously we sell a lot of real estate, but we meet people that has far more freehold property, but just one. But to buy the first one, the second one is so fearful of them to make a decision. But having your experience, having your skill now that you've gone through in the past 10 years, and you're able to share your experience, and that other people watch this podcast and say, wow, I'm that person right now. Look at Sonya today. Look how confident she sounds. What changes for her. That's sort of like, it's very hard to put a price on learning on that, isn't it?
It's worth every penny you throw at it, actually. It
Wow.
really is, because I could have lost a lot of money if we had stepped off that cliff and done it ourselves again. We could have lost a lot of money, but having someone there, I mean, my first trade, I made my fee plus back.
Right.
So it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. Basically, you know, again, it comes back to that logical analysis and the numbers say this works or it doesn't, or that one's a better opportunity than this one, and you take the dive accordingly to each. And that's the reason I mention that is simply as if there is a gap between the thinking between partners, the way that I've found to make it work is to say, put that down in black and white and go, there it is, it's this one, or it's this one, or it's in or out based on whether or not we're making any money here. And that's actually a good way also where there's a gut instinct about a property that's not quite aligned. Some of the time you just say, hey, we're only doing this for the money. Do we want to make this money or don't we?
Well, when it comes to, say, golf, you know, you've got swing coaches, you've got putting coach, you've got different coaches for different techniques. Even the All Blacks, there's a sprint coach, there's a scrum coach, there's a line-out coach, there's a fitness coach, there's a health coach. And these are sports. But when it comes to investment, which is we spent our life saving on it, we say like, no, I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah.
But yet we go to the gym, which used to pay $100 for a fitness coach to say do press-ups and, you know, whatever, eat healthy. But when it comes to $800 to $1 million purchase, we just go and do it without asking anybody. So our human natures are quite strange in that sort of sense. So Sonya, how important is it that you think that coaching is so important in this area to have someone?
Hugely. I think if we hadn't taken on a coach, we may have done another one or two eventually.
Right.
1 or 2 trades and holds.
Yeah.
And then I think our nerves would have just gotten too much. It would have been a bit too scary, and, you know, you can lose too much money and we can lose the house. But having a coach there to say, go with these numbers or go with your gut instinct, and just double checking and ticking the boxes and adding up everything for you, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah,
You know,
and they make you become accountability for what you do.
Absolutely.
They want to make you successful. They want to push you to the next level.
They push you. They really do push you to jump off that cliff on your own.
Wow,
So.
it's just so humbling to hear what a coach can do. And look, I know what you're saying, because I have done so many of that through so many my clients now, from 0 to on 3 McDonald's, employing 160 staff. Bought a first house in 1995 for $75,000 in Mangui. 3-bedroom house with carport in Henwood Road, off Massey Road. I remember the house clearly. Through the investment program, they own 9 properties or so after 7 years. He was working for McDonald's, and when the opportunity for him to buy a McDonald's, he was able to use his properties today
Collateral, yeah.
3 McDonald's
Mm.
through properties.
Mm.
And today, he doesn't buy one property anymore. He buys like 4 or 5 at a time. And that's just what it does. So, yeah, I'm just grateful.
Yeah. And that formula won't work for everybody, but it will work for a lot more people than they think they can do. You know what I mean? A lot of people think they can't do much, or they can buy one property. And we're often astonished, as you know. People walk in and we go, really? Okay, well, we can do that and that and that and that with it, because they don't know the capacity that they have.
I am so grateful to have you here today, Sonya. Thank you for coming in. But so far, I have interviewed, surprisingly, there were like quite a few women in this sector, and the conflict coming out of each one of you, it really surprised me, It's just so amazing to, I just think your words and your experience should be shared to many, many other people out there in the audience. So I think that I'll look forward to have you to be one of the Wealth Ninja coach eventually, because your confidence is just amazing and your experience is amazing. But other people might listen in here and they might say, wow, look at her. I want to be her. That's what the audience will say. That's what every client will say when they come to me. I even have 73-year-old clients, and I have a 30-year-old say, I want to be like her. That's like 43 years difference. But the 30-year-old can't do what the 73-year-old does, because she does it every day, and it's just the way it is. Yeah, so now thank you for coming today. It's been so inspiring. Listen to your story.
No worries.
If we may, so what would you say to people about going along to seminars and that kind of thing?
I wouldn't hesitate in telling them just to get there.
Right.
You can learn so much even just sitting there and listening. And you know what I wish I'd done sooner. I wish I'd done it a lot sooner. Done it in my 20s and 30s instead of starting in my 40s, which is when we did start, because it makes it so much easier the longer you're in this game.
That's right.
The easier it becomes.
I was quite lucky. I started when I was 24. 26 years later, I'm still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if the kids are involved early and they get in and out of the other stuff that they need to learn a little bit about too, they're getting in and out of company directorships and so on to be in property, because you've got to be getting their heads around all the loan documents and the paperwork, and they fall off the table the first time they see all that stuff. But
you've got to start one at a time, don't you? You can't just want to be a ninja when you don't want to be a white belt. So get into the class, study the techniques, and you graduate, you get grading, and you move up. That's just how life works. But you're absolutely right. People got to start by going to the event, get the education, then see where you end up at.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
And keep at it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in.
No worries.